Welcome to this overview of St. John's Lutheran Church. This video is produced by the Congregational Task Force for Facilities, commissioned by the Church Council to think about ways in which we can update and perhaps expand our current facilities, largely in preparation for the congregation's 75th anniversary in 2022. I'm the narrator and tour guide today. My name is Keith Wessel. I was born and raised in St. John's, and I am privileged to serve on this task force as the chairman. It's my intention to give you an overview, a tour of both the external and internal facilities of St. John's in preparation for our upcoming meeting. We hope that this video is beneficial. As we look at the Google Maps aerial photo, you can see that St. John's comprises approximately one half of one of New Ulm's city blocks. It is located on the corner of 7th South and Washington Street on the south side of town. New Ulm is a river town, and so it sits in orientation to the river. That means south is not pure south, neither is north. So New Ulm sits at kind of an angle. What this means for St. John's and the sanctuary is this, that as you're looking at the altar area, the entire right side of the church catches the morning sun as it goes from east to west. And like I said, our church does not sit on pure axes. It's slanted. And so it picks up quite a bit of that on the southern exposure of the morning sunlight. I'd like to start our tour here on the southeast corner, which is the bell tower. So at the bottom right of the picture, and then we are going to go counterclockwise, going up 7th Street and going around the back into the parking lot, coming up behind the Kreuzgang that you see there on the left, and then standing again in the front of the church. So this is looking down, well, it's on the corner of Washington and 7th. Looking down, there you see the bell tower. The sign, we think, could use some work. This is looking up Washington Street. Now what we have is the main south entrance, and looking back towards the front of the church. Moving around to the back, you see a solid wall. This is actually the back of the altar area. But one of the things that caught my eye was this little niche right here. This might have possibility for expansion. The parking lot area has recently been paved. You see the White House in the far corner. The congregation owns that house. The one immediately to the right is owned by a private individual. We are hoping to acquire it someday. Now you can see the north side of the church and the flat roof, which represents some unfinished plans. I'll show you the model later. But then moving around now to the new addition, the back of the new addition added in 2005. We're at that corner now, that back entrance into the pastoral office, and now looking back over the addition, the basement addition that connects with the current basement. And now here on the north end, we have this beautiful drop-off area with the covered walkway, which the medieval monasteries called the Kreuzgang, right? The way of the cross. And it's a nice little feature, this walkway. And there's that house that I mentioned that the congregation already does own. Okay, looking out over Washington Street, and now approaching the side entrance of the church, we have our pastor's offices here, 1, 2, 3 on the left, and now walking into the church proper in the Kreuzgang. Now you see the front of the church, the beautiful addition, which is about 15 years old now. The architects did a wonderful job We have the highest peak on the church, second here on the addition, and then it moves down to that third peak on the drop-off. And now here we are on the front of the church again, the main entrance for many, many years. Let's go inside next. So this is the new narthex area and the Washington Street entrance. Here you can see that decorative Kreuzgang, very nice feature of the church with that arched drop-off, and the pastor's offices are back in here. So this was all added in 2004 or so. I have to turn on some lights here. Okay, there is a council meeting room here, also used for confirmation class. There's a workroom, secretary area, and then going back here, sorry about the speed of the video, we have one pastor's office, staff minister office, second pastor's office, rear entrance here for counseling, and again back right into the council room. Coming out of the church office, we see Washington Street, and going up into the new narthex area, there's some people who just come and sit here on Saturday afternoon. No. Here's the new narthex. It can serve as overflow seating. There's an 80-inch screen there for worship. And here we also have the bathrooms and the elevator access. So, looking out over Washington, we now enter the old part of the church. Here is the narthex, not terribly big, but with the overflow here, I'm sure you've seen a number of Lutheran churches designed like this before. Okay, so here, these are glass panels. They are not safety glass. I'm not even sure if they're impact glass or not. I don't know. I think that was an upgrade we did when we redid the narthex. Okay, so the carpet is new. Here, again, is the main entrance of from the Washington Street. And here is the balcony. I'm going to go up there and give you an overview of the congregation from there, or from the sanctuary. So here we have the remodeled balcony. And this was done just a few years ago to accommodate this baby grand piano. Here's the pipe organ, of course. But here, this is overlooking the sanctuary. Pretty typical Lutheran sanctuary. Okay? I'm going to take you down to the front and give you an idea of some of the issues there.
I'll suck it in. Hey, how are you? Okay. We're looking forward to your help. Thank you so much for it. We appreciate it.
This is one of our pastors, Pastor Rob Gunther, who has been with us about 3 years, came from Kenai, Alaska. Okay. We have a wedding rehearsal going on in a few minutes, but I'm just going to walk you up the main aisle here. I actually feel like walking my daughter up the aisle. Okay. So this is the main area. Okay. The ceiling is dark, and it is cedar. It absorbs a lot of sound, as do these panels, which are grated, you can see, as well as the stone, which is not uniform. We do have issues with sound here. Freestanding altar, baptismal font, and cross. The style is very much the 1960s. We have blue carpet, and we have kind of a greenish floor, and we have yellow pads made out of nylon that seems to last forever. But we do have things that, or I should say, places where the pads are tearing. We do have beautiful stained glass. They are all reflective of the gospel lessons from the old lectionary. from the Lutheran hymnal. And so the days are a little off, but still very meaningful. You can see the sanctuary here from the front. Okay. Can send you a booklet on that if you wish. Now here, we set up communion rails, or we had been, and you can see they're kind of chiseled into the floor. These benches actually fold over and become communion rails. We do have this area here. It's very limited for singing. Okay, so the kids usually pile up here on the steps. And there you see Pastor Gunther going into the sacristy. Okay, and he's getting ready for a wedding rehearsal. This area has possibilities. One of the problems of this area, though, is that it is poured concrete, as best as we can tell. We have become accustomed to standing for communion during this COVID pandemic period. Okay, I don't know what the possibilities are for redoing this area. I've often thought, just a personal idea, it'd be neat to take the cross off, trim it down a little bit, and use one of Nathan Pope's favorite techniques, or what he talks about, the horror vacui, the abhorrence of an empty space. But maybe we could pull that forward and vault it right over the freestanding altar. Okay, and the font, of course, is very basic, but the style does fit. I mean, there is uniformity here with the style. Now, this is the back of the church. It is stone, goes on the alley. That's about as far back as we can go. We have a very small sacristy. It does have a restroom facility and a nice picture of Psalm 1. We do have a back entrance here, too. I don't know if this affords possibilities. Is there a light around here? No, maybe not. Okay. Affords some possibilities. This goes out into the back area there. That's a storage closet. I don't know if it can be knocked out or expanded. This certainly has possibilities. There also is the altar guild area on this side. Okay, got that? Thank you, Pastor. Mm-hmm. This could be tapped into, I think. That goes up to the, I believe, the air return system. But we do have problems here in the back with, the whole air conditioning heating system, right? Okay. Now, that gives you an idea what the inside of the church looks like. Okay. What is the seating capacity?
280-ish, something like that.
Okay,
I don't know exactly.
Seating capacity, we'll say we'll ballpark it at 300 if we cram in. This is the south entrance. We already looked there, going up into the pastor's office. And then you can see right here, yeah. Okay, and that enters into the sanctuary right in the front near the chancel. On a side note, here is Psalm 23, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And that's because this was the main exit in years past for caskets. When people would be buried here, and the hearse would come out onto the south side of the street here on, this is 7th South Street, and there you can see it intersects with Washington. Here is the south side entrance, coming down into the basement. An old bathroom here, some storage here. We'll go into that room in a minute. But here, you can see is the kitchen facilities. Okay, this is also part of the planned renovation that this space will be moved into an upper future addition. The main room right here is the fellowship area and Bible class area. This was remodeled in conjunction with the building expansion around the year 2004. The video and audio equipment is good. It's in place, it's modern. And you can see along the side here we have 1, 2, and then behind the board, you can see the door up in the left by the TV, we have a third room for Sunday school. Like all good Lutheran churches, we have the confirmation pictures plastered on the wall. I'm up there too. I was confirmed in this church. And in fact, if you look right up to the front of the Bible study room, right there where you see the computer and the podium, that's where I was baptized back in 1965 when this was the church. It was a basement church, and then the superstructure was raised during the 66-67 year, and then in 1968 the superstructure was dedicated. How do I know that? Well, I was baptized here. My sister Grace was baptized up at Martin Luther College while they were building the church, and my baby sister Claire was baptized in the sanctuary. The Bible class teaching area, and then you can see it sweeps over that way with the kitchen in the background. As we leave the Bible class area, you can enter the main sanctuary through these steps. There's a family restroom on the right and a Sunday school room on the left, but this leads us up into the main sanctuary, okay? And as I'll show later, let me turn on a light here. Not very handicap or friendly or accessible. Okay, we'll come back to this narthex here in a few minutes and go into the sanctuary. There you can see the access to the balcony, which is also where the organ resides. But now, I'd like to take you into the new part, okay, and that is here. So, Sunday school, pre-kindergarten on the right, and a little gathering area here, modern restrooms, family restrooms here, and likewise right above it in the new narthex. Elevator access, okay, and then we go upstairs into the new narthex area. At the time of our most recent expansion, some 15 years ago, at that time, there were plans drawn up for a larger project, of which we have really only completed half. So you can see this is looking from the corner of Washington, which runs to your left, and 7th South, which runs to your right. Okay, so the bell tower there, we saw the front entrance, and there was the Kreuzgang and the walkway. Now, the original plan called for this expansion here, and that has not yet been realized. So I'm just going to lift off the model here, off the ceiling, and you can see the full plan. We have built those 3 offices, the conference room, media, finance, and the entry. That's the church office area. We have the bathrooms in place, but really, it's right here that the project ends. We do have the architectural drawings for all of this, okay? For all of this, a fellowship hall, and then the fellowship hall in the church basement underneath would be devoted entirely to Sunday school rooms. So there are plans in place, that's for sure. Now, I was looking at this model and dreaming and almost wondering if this should be the sanctuary this way. And that possibility, I don't know. That would be quite an undertaking to turn the whole worship space 90 degrees. But I'm just wondering that in the long term, that might not be the better move. And then we could actually widen it and have the kitchen space, okay, and this storage space, etc., etc. I do not know the feasibility of all that, but, well, that's why we're hiring some consultants or working with consultants. So that's somewhat of an overview of the church property and a brief tour of not only the model, but of the inside of the sanctuary. I hope this information proves beneficial. We hope it proves beneficial. And we look forward to your ideas and reactions.